Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on something that runs behind every single app you use and love, software testing. We're going to explore this hidden world, this secret architecture that keeps your digital life from falling apart. Okay, let's dive right in.
So, let's start with a feeling we all know. You tap on an app, you're ready to go, and it just freezes. Or it crashes. Or even worse, it just disappears. It's so frustrating, right? Well, that frustration is exactly what we're going to unpack today. Because the reason that happens, or more importantly, why it doesn't happen, is all about a surprisingly complex system of quality control.
To really get our heads around this, I want you to use a simple analogy. Just think about building a house. You wouldn't just throw a bunch of wood and nails together and hope for the best, would you? No way. You'd inspect every single stage, from the foundation to the wiring to the shingles on the roof. Well, believe it or not, building great software is pretty much the exact same thing. And just like we'd build that house, we're going to build our understanding of testing in 4 key stages. First, we'll start by laying the foundation, looking at the basic code. Then, we'll connect the rooms to make sure all the parts work together. After that, we'll do a final walkthrough, from the user's perspective. And finally, we're going to see if our new house can actually withstand a storm. Okay, let's get into it. Section 1, laying the foundation. This is ground zero. It's all about testing the individual bricks and beams, the smallest, most fundamental pieces of the code, to make sure they are rock solid before we even think about building anything bigger. So our very first line of defense is something called unit testing. Now, the key thing to get here is that this is done by the developers themselves. Before their little piece of code gets added to the main project, they test that one small unit all by itself. It's kind of like a bricklayer tapping every single brick with a hammer, listening for cracks before they even put it in the wall. And then we have smoke testing. This is more of a quick gut check. Once you've got a few of those first pieces together, you run a quick test just to see if the whole thing immediately catches fire, metaphorically speaking. You're not checking all the details yet, you're just making sure the cement mixer actually turns on before you try to pour the entire foundation. If it doesn't, well, you've got bigger problems. Now, testers can come at this from 2 totally different angles. First, you've got white box testing. Here, the tester is like an engineer with the full blueprints in their hand. They can see all the internal code, all the wiring, all the plumbing. They know how it's supposed to work on the inside. Then, you have black box testing. This is the total opposite. The tester is like you, a potential home buyer. They don't know anything about the code. They just walk in and flip a switch. Does the light turn on? Yes or no? It's all about testing from the outside, just like a real user would. All right, so our foundation is solid. The individual bricks are good. Now it's time for section 2, connecting the rooms. This is where we start putting the walls up and making sure that all these different parts of our software house actually, connect and work together.
And this slide really lays out the journey perfectly. You can see we started small, testing the individual bricks of code with unit testing. Now we're moving into that crucial middle step, testing the connections between those bricks. And you can see where we're headed next, testing the entire building as one whole system. It's a natural progression, from the tiny parts to the whole shebang.
This next step is called integration testing. I mean, think about it. A perfectly good kitchen sink is completely useless if it's not connected to the plumbing, right? This is where testers check that different modules, or rooms, in the app are actually talking to each other. Does the data from the login screen actually get sent to the user database? That's integration, and it's so important. So once all the rooms are connected, we step back for system testing. We're not looking at pipes or wires anymore. We're testing the entire, fully assembled house. We pull out that original blueprint, what we call the business requirements, and we check everything. Did we build what we said we were going to build? If the plan was for a 3-bedroom house, does it actually have 3 bedrooms? Now, this next one is absolutely critical. It's called regression testing. See, software is always changing, always being updated. So what happens when a developer adds a cool new feature? Well, you have to go back and retest everything else to make sure that installing a fancy new window didn't somehow crack the foundation or break the garage door opener. It's all about making sure you don't take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. The house is built, the systems are all connected. Now we get to what might be the most important part of all. Section 3, the final walkthrough. It's time to take off our developer hard hats and put ourselves in the shoes of the person who's actually going to live here. So we have to ask the ultimate question. Is this house actually ready to live in? I mean, it might be structurally perfect, but is it comfortable? Is it easy to find your way around?
Is it, a nice place to be? To figure that out, we have a user-centric checklist. First up, functional testing. This is the simple stuff. Does the light switch actually turn on the light? Then we have usability testing. This goes a bit deeper. Is that light switch easy to find in the dark? Is it in a logical place? Next is UI testing. That's user interface. This is all about the look and feel. Does the paint color match the brochure? Is everything aligned properly? And finally, there's compatibility testing. This is making sure your house key doesn't just work on your iPhone, but also on your Android, and on Chrome, and on Safari. You get the picture. Okay, our house is built, it's been inspected, and the user says it's a great place to live, but what happens when life throws a real curveball? That brings us to our final section, withstanding the storm. This is where we intentionally try to break the software just to see what it can handle. And this is where we get into performance testing. Look, it's one thing for the plumbing to work when one person is taking a shower. But what happens when you throw a massive house party? You've got people flushing toilets, running every faucet, using the dishwasher all at the same time. Will the whole system grind to a halt? That's what performance testing is designed to find out. And this chart shows you exactly what we're talking about. When there are only a few users, everything's great, super responsive. But as you add more and more people, what engineers call applying a load, you can see that performance might start to dip. The whole point of this is to find that breaking point in a controlled test before your real customers find it on launch day. And of course, there's security. Security testing is basically like hiring a team of professional ethical burglars to try and break into your new house. They'll jiggle the locks, check for weak spots in the windows, try to disable the alarm. They find all the vulnerabilities so you can patch them up before a real threat comes along. So as we wrap all this up, I think this quote really says it best. Quality is not an act, it is a habit. And that's really the core idea here. Great software doesn't just happen by accident. It's the result of this constant, disciplined, layered habit of testing that literally builds quality into the code from day one. From checking a single line of code to simulating a hurricane of users, this invisible architecture is always working behind the scenes. It's truly the unsung hero of our digital world. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. The next time your favorite app works perfectly without a single glitch, just take a second. Because now you'll be able to see that invisible house of tests that's holding it all together. Thanks for watching.